Welcome to the Shadow of History channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. On a February morning in 1940, young evacuee Barry Peacock savors an ice cream while perched atop a deadly mine that washed ashore at Deal in Kent, blending childhood innocence with the haunting machinery of war. In 1936, one solitary man crosses his arms in quiet defiance, refusing the Nazi salute as every other figure around him bends to the rising tide of tyranny and fear that would soon consume a continent. A Native American mother cradles her child in the early 1900s, their eyes holding centuries of resilience and tradition even as their world shifts beneath the relentless pressures of a changing and unforgiving modern age. In 1950, France's strangers and neighbors gather around a simple baguette captured by Robert Doisneau, transforming an ordinary loaf into a symbol of community, our connection, and the timeless rituals that bind us together through bread and conversation. This peculiar device from 1936 was designed to mechanically create dimples, revealing an era when beauty standards drove inventors to craft machines that promised physical perfection through technology, no matter how absurd the pursuit might seem today. Abraham Lincoln stands with Detective Allan Pinkerton and General John McClernand at Gettysburg in 1863, three figures frozen in time during the Civil War, their faces etched with the weight of a nation tearing itself apart over freedom. General George Patton's loyal dog waits in silence on December 21, 1945, the day his owner died, embodying the unspoken grief and devotion that animals carry when the warriors they love are suddenly and forever gone. New York City pulses with life in the early 1900s, its streets crowded with horse-drawn carriages, pedestrians, and the electric energy of a metropolis on the brink of becoming the greatest urban wonder the world had ever seen. 16-year-old Hans-Georg Henke, a German anti-aircraft soldier, weeps openly in Hessen in 1945 as American troops capture him, his tears revealing the fragile boy beneath the uniform as his nation crumbles into dust and defeat. In Cape Town during the 1880s, double amputee railway signalman James Wide works alongside Jack Baboon, a trained Chacma baboon who pushes his wheelchair and operates signals, proving that companionship and ingenuity can triumph over any physical limitation. In 1892, loggers stand dwarfed beside the colossal Mark Twain redwood they felled in California, their pride frozen in time by photographer N.E., a Beckwith, a monument to both human ambition and the irreplaceable giants we destroy in its name. At the 1942 Army War Show in New Orleans, soldiers demonstrate flamethrowers with blazing intensity, showcasing the terrifying weapons of modern warfare to a public eager to support the fight, yet shielded from the true horrors these machines unleash. In 1919, nurses leave Blackfriars Depot in Sydney's Chippendale. During the flu pandemic, their crisp uniforms and determined strides, a testament to the courage of those who walk toward danger when the rest of the world recoils in fear. Salvador Dali strolls through Venice in 1961, his wild eyes and eccentric demeanor turning the ancient canals into a surreal stage where art and life blur into one unforgettable performance orchestrated by the master of the bizarre himself. In 1961, near Hartford, Connecticut, a salesman refuels his motorized roller skates at a gas station, embodying the optimistic spirit of an era that believed technology could transform even the simplest acts into futuristic adventures full of possibility. This Chinese woman from the late 1800s endured foot binding from childhood. Her tiny deformed feet, a painful symbol of beauty standards that forced generations to sacrifice mobility and health for an ideal dictated by tradition and male desire. In 1961, Louis Armstrong plays his trumpet for his wife from atop a camel near the pyramids at Giza, outside Cairo, transforming the ancient sands into a stage where music, love, and adventure converge in one perfect, timeless moment. Jim. Morrison sits beside his longtime companion, Pamela Corson. In 1969, their intertwined lives captured in a fleeting photograph that hints at the passion, chaos, and tragedy that would define their brief and intense time together on Earth. This grotesque splatter mask from around 1918 protected French tank crew members during World War I. Its haunting design, a chilling reminder of the brutal conditions soldiers faced inside steel monsters rumbling across the blood-soaked battlefields of Europe. In the 1860s, a Native American man gazes at the newly completed Transcontinental Railroad snaking through California, photographed by Alfred Hart, witnessing the iron tracks that would forever divide his ancestral lands and shatter ancient ways of life. In 1937, photographer Jimmy Syme captured on Toffs and Tufts, showing two privileged boys in Harrow School uniforms staring down three working-class youths, a frozen moment that exposes the rigid class divides carving through the heart of British society. Brian Dennehy lived from 1938 to 2020, leaving behind a legacy of powerful performances that captured the struggles of ordinary people. His deep voice and commanding presence etching unforgettable characters into the hearts of audiences across generations and continents. Berlin lies in ruins at the end of World War II in 1945, its shattered buildings and empty streets bearing silent witness to the catastrophic price of fascism ambition and the millions of lives consumed by the inferno. In the late 1800s, a Japanese man displays traditional full-body tattoos that cover his, our skin in intricate artistry, each design representing a cultural heritage and aesthetic tradition that would later captivate and inspire people around the entire world. In 1972, inmates at Attica Correctional Facility in New York play chess from their cells, captured by Cornell Capa. Their strategic moves across the board offering a brief escape from the steel bars and concrete walls that define their confined existence. On August 23, 1989, approximately 2 million people from Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania formed a 600-kilometer human chain, uniting all three nations, declaring to the world their fierce desire to break free from Soviet oppression, suffering, and endless poverty. A Vietnam War helmet from 1967 bears the cynical graffiti war, "Is good business." Invest Your Son, capturing the a bitter disillusionment of soldiers who saw their lives traded for profit and political ambition on battlefields thousands of miles from home. In 1966, Van Williams, Adam West, Burt Ward, and Bruce Lee posed together on the Batman television set, uniting Green Hornet Batman, Robin, and Kato in one iconic photograph that celebrates the golden age of campy, colorful superhero entertainment. In 1929, Fox photographer R.J. Salmon dangles in a wooden crate suspended from a crane above Fleet Street in London, risking his life to capture an aerial shot that would transform how audiences viewed their cities from above. In 1992, rocket scientist Lonnie Johnson stands outside his home, holding the Super Soaker he invented, photographed by Thomas S. England, his brilliant mind proving that groundbreaking innovation can emerge from playfulness, curiosity, and a desire to bring joy. Artist Dario Campanile poses proudly in 1986 beside the majestic painting he created for Paramount Pictures' 75th anniversary, a masterpiece that would become the foundation for the studio's iconic logo, recognizable to moviegoers across the globe for decades. In 1972, the Selective Service System conducts the annual Vietnam War Draft Lottery in Washington, D.C., where young men's fates are decided by numbered capsules drawn from a drum turning life and death into a cruel game of chance. In 1945, a German woman sits alone amid the ruins of Cologne, clutching all her remaining belongings, her weary face and shattered surroundings embodying the devastation that war leaves behind long after the guns have finally fallen silent. In 1975, behind the scenes of Taxi Driver, the cast and crew craft a film that would capture the alienation and simmering violence lurking beneath the surface of American cities, leaving an indelible mark on cinema that endures today. Around 1930, Margaret Bourke-White captures a bird's-eye view of a massive crowd filling 36th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues in New York City, a sea of humanity demonstrating the power of our photography to reveal patterns invisible from the ground. In 1925, a thoughtful officer halts all traffic to allow a mother cat carrying her kitten across the street, a small act of kindness that reminds us compassion can pause even the busiest moments of modern life for the smallest creatures. In 1907, a British sailor removes leg chains from an enslaved man who wore them for 3 years off the coast of Oman, the freed prisoner having escaped a slave trading post after hearing the Royal Navy was nearby and salvation within reach. Wars have accompanied humanity since the dawn of our existence, and even now, after we consider ourselves thinking rational and civilized beings, they remain ever-present questioning whether we have truly learned anything from the blood-soaked lessons of history. In 1966, professional ice hockey goalie Terry Sawchuk wears fake scars and wounds applied by makeup artist for photographer Ralph Morse, simulating 16 years of accumulated injuries that reveal the brutal physical toll of his dangerous and punishing career on ice. Around 1936, Goliath, the massive elephant seal, lounges beside his keeper at Vincennes Zoo in Paris, the enormous creature and his devoted caretaker forming an unlikely bond that captivated visitors and photographers who marveled at their extraordinary relationship. In 1955, a lamplighter known as a Leary carefully lights a gas lamp on a Glasgow street in Scotland, performing a ritual from a vanishing era when cities glowed under flickering flames instead of the harsh electric lights that would soon replace them. At the 1962 Paris Motor Show, the revolutionary Citroën D's 19 gleams under spotlights at Porte de Versailles, its futuristic curves and aerodynamic design captivating crowds who recognize they are witnessing the automobile that will redefine elegance and innovation. Ernest Hemingway stands in uniform in Milan in 1918, having worked as an ambulance driver in Italy for just 2 months before mortar fire wounded him, an experience that would haunt and shape his writing for decades. In 1940s Melbourne, Australia, a father shows off his balancing skills to his astonished little daughter, their moment of playful wonder preserved in Steve Given's collection, reminding us that the simplest acts of parenting create the most treasured memories. Zitkala-sa, photographed by Gertrude K. Sabir. In 1898 was a Sioux writer-musician teacher and political activist who composed America's first native opera and co-founded the National Council of American Indians to fight tirelessly for citizenship and civil rights. In 1983, an Albany life insurance advertisement features a striking visual that captures the era's bold marketing style, using dramatic imagery to sell peace of mind and financial security to families anxious about an uncertain future in Britain. In 1954, John and Lillian McDonald stand frozen in anguish at Hermosa Beach, California, moments after learning their 19-month-old son was swept out to sea. Their raw grief captured by John L. Gaunt in a photograph that won the Pulitzer Prize. Pioneers of Leningrad wear gas masks during a 1937 defense drill photographed by Victor Bulla, their haunting silhouettes preparing for chemical warfare in a city that would soon face unimaginable siege and suffering during World War II's brutal Eastern Front. In 1945, British prisoners assembled the Kolditz cockglider from bedsheets and floorboards inside Germany's maximum security Kolditz Castle, photographed by Lee Carson. But the American Army liberated the camp before this desperate two-person escape machine could take flight. The 1895 Montparnasse train derailment in Paris sent a locomotive crashing through the station wall, killing a woman below, injuring 6 others, and resulting in the driver's imprisonment, while a railway company settled with the victim's family and promised her children education. In 1931, Fox Photos photographer Fred Morley faces off against Ozzy the boxing kangaroo in London's Trafalgar Square. Their absurd sparring match delighting crowds and proving that journalism sometimes demands the most ridiculous courage imaginable from its practitioners. Around 1920, a strong woman balances an entire piano and its pianist on her chest, defying gravity and gender expectations in an era when women's physical power was routinely dismissed, underestimated, or completely denied by society's narrow conventions. In 1960, Tokyo's 17-year-old ultranationalist Otoya Yamaguchi assassinates socialist leader Inajiro Asanuma on stage during a televised debate, the victim dying within an hour, while his teenage killer hanged himself in prison just 3 weeks later. During the Jahres 1920s, hyperinflation devastates Germany's Weimar Republic, rendering currency worthless and forcing citizens to carry wheelbarrows of cash for bread. Economic chaos that would soon help fascism rise from the rubble of national humiliation and despair. In 1940, gas masks designed for infants up to 2 years old are tested during a drill at an English hospital, the tiny protective devices representing a terrifying reality, where even newborns must be shielded from chemical warfare's poison clouds. 8-year-old Polish chess prodigy Samuel Reshevsky plays simultaneous games in France in 1920, moving from board to board with astonishing speed and precision, demonstrating a genius that would make him one of the greatest chess masters the world would ever witness. In 1944, 1,000 captured German troops are paraded through Moscow streets, a calculated display of Soviet power and revenge meant to humiliate the once invincible Wehrmacht, while demonstrating to the world that the tide of war had turned irreversibly eastward. The Woodstock crowd stretches endlessly. In 1969, 500,000 young people gathered on a muddy farm to celebrate music, peace, and rebellion, creating a cultural moment that would define a generation's dreams and contradictions for all the decades that followed. Swiss photographer Willy Spiller's collection, Hell on Wheels, documents New York City's subway system during the 1970s and 80s, capturing the grit-danger graffiti and raw urban decay that defined the era before gentrification polished away the city's rough edges. Around 1,906 riders at the Italian Cavalry School perform precisely coordinated maneuvers, their training representing centuries of military tradition, even as the modern age of mechanized warfare was already beginning to make their skills tragically obsolete and ceremonial. In 1926, silent screen star Viola Dana plays the sousaphone while a howling dog provides vocal accompaniment. Their absurd duet captured on film as a playful moment that reveals the humor and spontaneity behind Hollywood's glamorous facade. In 1955, Crowds in Buenos Aires cheer rebellious Argentine naval troops who completed the overthrow of President Juan Perón, photographed by Cornel Capa. Their celebration marking another violent chapter in a nation's turbulent cycle of military coups and political chaos. Coco Chanel, on poses in 1928 wearing a Breton shirt and trousers, her revolutionary embrace of menswear and casual elegance challenging fashion's rigid rules and proving that style comes from confidence, not from corsets or the restrictive garments that imprisoned women's bodies. Residents of West Berlin hold their children up to windows in 1961, so grandparents trapped in East Berlin can see them, the newly erected wall separating families and transforming a city into a heartbreaking symbol of Cold War division and human suffering. A Victorian couple struggles not to laugh while posing for their portrait. In the 1890s, their barely contained smiles revealing the real people hiding beneath the era's strict photographic conventions that demanded solemn dignity and motionless, expressionless faces for posterity. In 1902, France knife grinders work lying down to save their backs with dogs sitting on their legs for warmth, a photograph capturing the ingenuity and companionship that made unbearable labor slightly more bearable in an age before workplace protections existed. The Queen of England and her husband attend the horse races in 1968, their formal attire and regal bearing upholding centuries of tradition at an event where British aristocracy gathers to celebrate thoroughbreds pageantry and the enduring rituals of class. A woman walks through Berlin's ruins during the Battle of Berlin in May 1945, her solitary figure navigating the shattered streets of a once great city, as artillery shells still echo and the Third Reich collapses into dust and defeat all around her. And in 1917 on the Western Front, a German officer and NCO wear portable sound, locating devices to detect enemy aircraft. This primitive radar technology representing humanity's desperate race to turn science into weapons that could pierce the skies and rain death from above. A prisoner of war returns home to Vienna, Austria in 1946, photographed by Ernst Haas, his haunted eyes and weary posture telling the story of survival and the impossibility of explaining to loved ones what war has taken that can never be returned. In Belgrade, Yugoslavia in 1988, a zoo director engages in tense negotiation with an escaped chimpanzee. Their standoff captured on film as a moment where human authority meets animal intelligence in a delicate dance of diplomacy neither side fully controls. A Berlin boy sells lemonade in 1931 using a portable dispenser strapped to his back, his entrepreneurial spirit and ingenious contraption offering sweet refreshment to pedestrians while helping his family survive the economic hardships plaguing Germany's crumbling Weimar Republic. Reckless kids balance precariously on a homemade cart, hurtling down a hill, their fearless laughter and complete disregard for safety, capturing a vanished era when childhood meant scraped knees, dangerous adventures, and freedom unimaginable to today's supervised generations. In 1940, a model demonstrates an electric face heat mask at the international beauty show The Bizarre Device, promising youthful radiance through technology, revealing an era when science fiction aesthetics merged with beauty industry promises to transform aging into a problem machines could solve. British soldiers patrolled Belfast's Little Patrick Street in 1973 during Northern Ireland's troubles, their rifles ready and eyes scanning for danger in a conflict where neighbors became enemies and every corner could explode into violence without warning or mercy. In 1936, New York Central Railroad streamliner Cleveland Mercury departs Union Terminal in Cleveland, Ohio. Its sleek Art Deco design by Henry Dreyfuss, photographed by J. Baylor Roberts embodying an era when trains represented speed progress and America's faith in technological elegance. Around 1902, the Sacred Hairy family of Mandalay, Burma, poses for a photograph, their rare genetic condition making them objects of fascination and reverence, caught between cultural tradition, medical curiosity, and the colonial gaze that documented them as curiosities rather than people. In 1941, Bill Brandt captures a day on the river, his photograph transforming an ordinary summer afternoon into a study of light leisure and the quiet moments when ordinary people find peace along the water's edge, briefly escaping war's distant thunder. A samurai poses in full armor around the 1860s in a hand-colored photograph by Felice Beato, his warrior tradition already fading as Japan's feudal age collapses under Western pressure and modernity's relentless march toward industrialization and imperial ambition. Around 1930, a giant container designed to store up to 5,000 fresh eggs for more than a year demonstrates industrial age ingenuity, its bulky design promising to solve food preservation problems through engineering before refrigeration technology became affordable and widespread. In 1901, British anthropologists photographed the happiest man in China who playfully mugs for the camera instead of maintaining solemn dignity, his goofy pose and smile revealing that he didn't understand photography's serious Western conventions and chose joy over formality. A knocker-up in London in 1929 uses a long stick to tap on windows and wake clients for work. Before alarm clocks became affordable, this vanishing profession representing an era when even timekeeping required human labor and personal service. An immigrant family arrives at Ellis Island in 1904, their worn clothing and weary faces carrying the weight of journeys across oceans, leaving behind everything familiar to chase American dreams that promise opportunity but guarantee nothing except hardship and uncertainty. Young girls work at an oyster shucking processing plant in 1912, their small hands performing dangerous labor for pennies in an era before child labor laws protected children from industries that valued profit over innocence, health, or education. An East German soldier helps a little boy sneak across the Berlin Wall the day it was erected in 1961. The child having been separated from family in the chaos, this single act of compassion defying orders and proving humanity can survive even through barbed wire. Berlin transforms between 1985 and 2018, side-by-side photographs revealing how time healed a divided city, erasing walls and scars while rebuilding streets where history's darkest chapters once played out beneath the weight of occupation surveillance and Cold War paranoia. A British soldier retrieves bandages from a dog's kit during World War I in 1915, the trained animal serving as a medical assistant on battlefields where four-legged companions carried supplies through trenches and shell fire that would have broken any human courier's spirit. A soldier shares his banana with a goat during the 1944 battle on Saipan, their unlikely. A friendship captured in a photograph that reveals how even in war's brutality, moments of tenderness and connection can emerge between species that understand survival and loneliness. On July 4, 1949, Coney Island's beach overflows with humanity captured by Andreas Feininger, a sea of bodies packed together under summer sun, celebrating independence and seeking relief from city heat in America's most democratic and chaotic seaside playground. In 1925, American footballer Hinkie Haynes of the New York Giants models the latest protective headgear design, the primitive leather helmet, representing football's early attempts to protect players' brains from the devastating collisions that would later reveal the sport's deadly legacy. Elvis Presley performs during his 1968 comeback special. On NBC, photographed by Gary Null, the leather-clad king reclaiming his throne after years of Hollywood mediocrity, reminding the world that rock and roll belonged to him and always would. In 1971, Sean Connery plays golf on a moonset, while filming Diamonds Are Forever photographed by Terry O'Neill. The surreal scene capturing Hollywood magic where James Bond practices his swing on fake lunar surfaces between takes of Saving the World. In 1942, a model demonstrates a portable sweatbox with cloth bag and air pump designed to simulate steam baths anywhere in the house, the absurd contraption promising fitness and health through heat and vapor in an era obsessed with mechanical solutions. In 1936, Carl Meidens photographs a young migrant mother in a ragged sweater and flower bag skirt, with 3 children dressed in rags living in a field on U.S. East Route 70 near Tennessee River, their poverty etched into every thread and haunted expression. Model Simone Delancourt floats in a glass bubble on the River Seine in Paris in 1963, photographed by Melvin Sokolsky for Harper's Bazaar, transforming fashion photography into surreal art where elegance and impossibility merge above the water's timeless current. A Seattle streetcar conductor in 1918 refuses passengers without masks during the flu pandemic, enforcing public health measures with the same determination that would echo over a century later when another virus forced humanity to cover its face and keep distance. An 18th century device allowed researchers to work with up to 8 open books simultaneously, this ingenious contraption representing an era when scholars needed mechanical assistance to cross-reference texts before computers made such physical arrangements completely obsolete and quaint. 4 generations of soldiers stand together in one photograph, their uniforms spanning eras of warfare and technology, embodying how military service and sacrifice become family traditions passed down through bloodlines that answer their nation's call again and again across time. Electric charging cars line up in 1917, their presence revealing that electric vehicles are not modern innovations, but forgotten technology from over a century ago, abandoned when gasoline's convenience and oil industry power crushed cleaner alternatives before they could flourish. Esther Sturmer refused to bring her family into ghettos when Germans invaded Ukraine in 1941. And as the Gestapo forced Korolovka's Jews into trucks bound for concentration camps in fall 1942, her defiance became desperate survival as soldiers made victims dig their graves. Disneyland's first character costumes from around 1955 look crude and unsettling compared to modern versions. Their rough construction and strange proportions revealing that even magical kingdoms must start somewhere before polishing their illusions into the seamless perfection audiences expect today. A thylacine or Tasmanian tiger paces in captivity around 1930, the last of its species dying 6 years later, in 1936, this photograph preserving forever the striped marsupial predator that humanity hunted into extinction before understanding what we had lost. Oxford's High Street, photographed recently by David Fisher, mirrors JMW. Turner's 1810 oil painting with remarkable fidelity, the preserved architecture demonstrating how some places resist time's destruction, maintaining their beauty and character across 2 centuries of relentless change. In 1954, Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 13 sisters in the Brooks family gather with their only brother, newborn Leslie Benjamin, for a photograph celebrating his arrival, their faces radiating joy at finally welcoming a boy into their remarkable sisterhood of daughters, born at home. In the ancient world of the Maya, skilled artisans crafted ceramic figures with remarkable detail, including this extraordinary piece from 1500 years ago, featuring a helmet that could be removed and replaced, revealing the sophisticated craftsmanship that defined their civilization. Visitors to Gatlinburg in 1958 rode the Smoky Sky Lift high above the Tennessee mountains, soaring through crisp air in open chairs that offered breathtaking views of the endless forested valleys stretching toward the horizon below. October light fell across Sunset School in Mary Pocahontas County, West Virginia in 1921, where children gathered for lessons in a modest wooden building that stood as the heart of their rural community deep in the Appalachian Hills. Inside his studio in 1981, Vangelis sat surrounded by synthesizers and keyboards, crafting the haunting electronic score for Blade Runner that would revolutionize film music and echo through the dreams of audiences for generations to come. The Brownie Hawkeye camera by Kodak. I arrived in the 1950s, putting photography into ordinary hands with its simple design and affordable price, allowing families everywhere to capture their precious moments and preserve their memories forever. Johnny Carson and Betty White transformed into Tarzan and Jane during a memorable 1981 Tonight Show appearance, swinging through the studio jungle in costume and reminding viewers that laughter and playfulness never truly grow old. In 1963, a woman enjoyed her portable micro-television, invented by Sony, while relaxing in the back of her car, experiencing a glimpse of the future where entertainment would follow us everywhere. At a mining facility in Kimberley, South Africa, in 1954, a radiologist carefully examined a worker's stomach using X-ray technology, searching for any diamonds the miner might have swallowed in an attempt to smuggle precious stones. These two photographs capture the same person separated by 66 years of life, showing how time transforms our faces while the essence of who we are continues to shine through our eyes. When a newspaper columnist suggested Marilyn Monroe would look better in a potato sack than her glamorous gowns, she arrived at a 1951 photo shoot wearing exactly that, proving her beauty and confidence transcended any costume. Inmates at Alcatraz sat down to dinner on March 13, 1956, choosing from a surprisingly varied menu that included roast shoulder of pork, offering a glimpse into daily life inside America's most notorious prison. A barber stands ready with his tools in this rare photograph from 1869, capturing the interior of his shop, where men gathered not only for grooming, but for conversation and connection in their community. In Rygate, Montana, during 1941, a schoolteacher carried a heavy bucket of coal across frozen ground to heat her small cottage after teaching all day, embodying the quiet strength required for life on the isolated rural plains. Young Winston Churchill posed beside his Aunt Lady Leslie in 1880 at age 6 years before he would grow into the leader whose words and courage would help save Britain during its darkest hour. An Arctic explorer and his wife, a talented fashion illustrator, sat for this striking portrait. Together in 1947, their faces reflecting lives spent balancing adventure with creativity across frozen frontiers and elegant studios alike. A young boy carried a heavy basket of fresh fish through the crowded Boston street market in October 1909, working hard to help his family survive in a city filled with immigrants chasing the American dream. The 1932 Bugatti Type 41 Roadster Esters represented the absolute pinnacle of automotive luxury and engineering, a masterpiece of design so rare and expensive that only a handful were ever built for the world's wealthiest collectors. In 1921, Scotland, a farmer carefully positioned a horseshoe against his workhorse's hoof, practicing the ancient skill of farrier work that kept these powerful animals healthy and ready for another season of hard labor. The Noonans, a family of 15 people gathered together in 1920s, Lawrence, Massachusetts, their faces showing both the struggles and the deep bonds that came with raising so many children during those difficult industrial years. High above an intersection in Pratt, Kansas in 1911, a lineman balanced carefully on wooden poles while repairing telephone and power lines, performing dangerous work that connected America's growing towns and kept the modern world running. A family examined Christmas trees for sale on a snowy street corner in 1933, searching for the perfect evergreen to brighten their home during the Great Depression, when even small celebrations required careful spending and hopeful hearts. Bud the Pit Bull became the first dog to cross the United States in an automobile in 1903, riding alongside his owner, Horatio Nelson Jackson, on an epic adventure that proved the car was America's future. Mike Tyson walked his pet tiger through the neighborhood in 1990, a surreal moment when the heavyweight champion's fame and fortune allowed him to keep one of nature's most dangerous predators as an unusual companion. Ishi, the last known member of California's Yahi tribe, emerged from 44 years of hiding in 1911 after white settlers massacred his people for bounties, walking starving into Oroville to become a living bridge to a vanished world. Tutankhamun's game of Senet rested in his tomb in Egypt from 1333 BC, waiting thousands of years to reveal how even ancient pharaohs enjoyed moments of leisure and play between their duties to the gods. Lumberjacks in 1889 stood beside the massive tree they felled, using only hand-powered saws and human strength, their faces showing the pride and exhaustion that came from battling nature's giants with simple tools. A 1979 Pakistan International Airlines advertisement invited travelers to experience South Asian hospitality and adventure, capturing an era when flying remained glamorous and the world felt both vast and newly accessible to all. Chicago's streets bustled with horse-drawn wagons and early automobiles. In the early 1900s, a city in transformation, where old and new ways of life collided amid the smoke and ambition of American progress. British soldiers stared hollow-eyed into the camera after their liberation from a Japanese prisoner of war camp in 1945, their emaciated bodies bearing witness to unimaginable suffering that words could never fully capture. American-made Studebaker and Chevrolet trucks lined a Red Army depot west of Moscow in Mojaisk during August 1944, physical proof of the alliance that supplied Soviet forces fighting desperately against the Nazi invasion across the Eastern Front. The Lincoln Memorial stood newly completed in Washington during 1922 and remains virtually unchanged in 2026, a timeless monument to a president whose words about union and freedom continue echoing through American history. This DAF Domburg diesel from 1949, made in the Netherlands, featured an engine that swung outward on hinges, showing a rare moment when an engineer actually designed a vehicle thinking about the mechanics who would maintain it. Buzz Aldrin floated above Earth during the Gemini 12 mission in 1966, capturing the first ever space selfie during his extravehicular activity and opening humanity's eyes to our beautiful, fragile planet hanging in the void. A prankster climbed the Hollywood Hills in 1976, following California's marijuana decriminalization law, changing the famous sign's letters overnight to create a temporary monument that made the entire city laugh at dawn. Hitler posed uncomfortably in lederhosen during the 1930s, later calling the photograph beneath his dignity and forbidding its publication. Yet the image survived to show the dictator in a rare moment of ordinariness he desperately wanted hidden. In the Haktong-ni area of Korea on August 28, 1950, a grief-stricken American infantryman collapsed into the arms of a fellow soldier, their shared sorrow capturing war's deepest cost that no victory could ever erase. Curious polar bears investigated the USS Honolulu submarine after it surfaced near the North Pole in 2003, photographed by yeoman Alfonso Braggs in a surreal encounter between nature's Arctic masters and human technological achievement. Workers constructed the Atomium in Brussels during 1958 for the World's Fair, photographed by Dolph Kruger as the massive steel structure rose like a crystal molecule, symbolizing humanity's atomic age optimism and faith in science. In Paris during 1882, sculptors worked on a detailed model of the Statue of Liberty, carefully shaping the face and torch of the monument that would soon stand in New York Harbor, welcoming immigrants to America's shores. School children played freely in their Iowa classroom during 1892, a moment of joy between lessons in a one-room schoolhouse where education and childhood wonder existed together on the American frontier's expanding edge. A man stood confidently on the lap of a colossal figure of Ramses in 1856. Egypt, his small human form dwarfed by the ancient stone pharaoh who had watched over the desert for thousands of years. 3 determined women completed their medical education and graduated as physicians in Philadelphia during 1885, breaking through barriers of gender and expectation to heal patients in a profession that had long excluded their voices and talents. A well-organized garage from 1927 displayed the tools and equipment of the automobile age arranged neatly along wooden walls, showing how Americans were adapting their homes and lives to accommodate their new motorized freedom. Workmen fitted sections of wooden water pipeline together in Idaho during 1891, building the infrastructure that would carry fresh water to mining. Towns and settlements scattered across the rugged western landscape where modern civilization was taking root. A family gathered for Christmas dinner in 1936, their modest meal of potatoes, cabbage, and pie reflecting the Great Depression's harsh reality, while their togetherness showed that love and gratitude survived even the hardest times. A young Victorian couple balanced together on a tricycle during the 1880s, their fashionable clothing and adventurous spirit capturing a moment when new inventions were transforming courtship and giving people fresh ways to explore the world together. Manila, 1875. A young woman of Filipino and Chinese heritage poses for a delicate portrait. This vintage image captures the diverse cultural blending and elegant fashion of the Philippines during the late Spanish era. America, 1950s. A mother holds her child in the front seat of a car with no restraints. This shocking vintage photograph highlights an era before airbags and seatbelts redefined the standards of automotive safety. Istanbul, 1900 students at an Ottoman military school perform rigorous gymnastics training. This rare footage showcases the empire's emphasis on physical discipline and modernization within its elite educational institutions during its final years. Bogota, 1992. A young Sofia Vergara is photographed at the start of her modeling career, long before her Hollywood success. She was already a rising star in her native Colombia, captivating local audiences. New York City, 1970s. A subway car is covered from floor to ceiling in vibrant, gritty graffiti. This image captures the raw energy and urban decay of a city struggling through an economic crisis. America, 1942. Women laborers assemble military aircraft in a factory during World War II. These sharp Kodachrome photographs document the vital role Rosies played in the industrial effort that helped win the war. Africa 2024. Two elephants reach out for a final trunk-to-trunk embrace before being separated. This poignant moment of connection highlights the deep emotional intelligence and social bonds shared by these majestic sentient giants. Illinois, 1930, an entire Victorian house is moved down a city street with the residents still inside. This incredible feat of engineering allowed homeowners to relocate their dwellings without interrupting their daily lives. Paris, 1960. Brigitte Bardot celebrates her wedding to Jacques Cartier. Amidst a whirlwind of media attention, the iconic French actress remained a focal point of global fashion and paparazzi obsession throughout the decade.